So today let us talk about Vidal test, how the antigens are prepared and how interpretation of Vidal test is done. We all know that we perform Vidal test for diagnosis of enteric fever. Enteric fever is endemic in India. The causative agent may be Salmonella typhi, Salmonella paratyphi A or Salmonella paratyphi B. And clinical diagnosis is not always accurate. Although the patient will come with complaint of fever, abdominal pain, there may be hepatosplenomegaly may be there on examination, and bradycardia will also be there. So for laboratory diagnosis, we perform Vidal test. Although there are other tests we can go for blood culture, serology. Obviously, either we can detect antigen by typhi test or we can do Vidal test, and there are molecular techniques also in order to diagnose the enteric fever. But Vidal test among these all is very popular. As we all know that this test is based on detection of antibody to somatic O antigen and flagellar H antigen of enteric fever Salmonella, and this is done by means of a tube agglutination reaction. This test is performed in tube, hence this is tube agglutination test. And what we detect antibodies. Antibodies against what? Against the antigen. Which antigen? O antigen, which is somatic antigen or cell wall antigen, and H antigen, which is flagellar antigen present over the flagella. But before performing the test, we have to prepare the antigen. Previously, the antigens were prepared in our laboratory. Now they are available commercially. Why we prepare antigen in laboratory? Because it becomes cost effective and they are amenable for quality control also if we prepare them in-house. So when we prepare antigen, there is preparation of O antigen as well as S antigen suspension from a standard Salmonella strain. Standard Salmonella strains are taken up in order to prepare antigen O and H for Vidal test. So what we do? First we inoculate these standard strain on nutrient agar slopes. Nutrient agar slope, they are prepared in broad tubes, and thereafter the growth which is there over the nutrient agar slope, that is harvested aseptically, means we remove the growth from there or we scrape off the growth, and thereafter the growth is tested for sterility of antigen suspension, means we check whether they are pure or not. There should not be any contamination with other organisms. Then we dilute the stock antigen suspension to working concentration using McFarland standard. There are various tubes with McFarland tubes which are for their optical density is fixed, and they shows each tube designate particular concentration or particular amount of antigen in that. We compare, means these are turbidity tubes to compare the growth of organism in a suspension. So antigens, they are prepared from standard strain of Salmonella enterica, subspecies Enterica serovar is typhi. Salmonella enterica, subspecies Enterica, and serovar is typhi. O antigen is prepared from non-motile O901 strain. Non-motile, why? Because here we want only somatic antigen, not the flagellar antigen. Somatic antigen we have to prepare, hence non-motile strain is taken up so that we can have pure somatic antigen. H antigen is prepared from motile strain H901 because only the motile strain will have flagella, and that strain, with that strain we can prepare H antigen. So how to prepare? Inoculation of standard strain on nutrient agar slope and overnight incubation is done. Then harvesting of growth from slope to McCartney bottle, that is what? Blood culture bottle, and adding formaldehyde in it to inactivate the organism. Then inoculation of suspension on blood agar plate in order to check for sterility. And thereafter the antigens, they are diluted and their working concentration are made using McFarland nephrometer. So now about, once we have prepared antigen, we prepare O antigen and we prepare H antigen. H antigen of Salmonella typhi, H antigen of Salmonella paratyphi A and H antigen of Salmonella paratyphi B. Whereas O antigen is common for all these three strains. Clear? So Vidal test is a tube agglutination test. In this we detect antibodies against O antigen and H antigen of Salmonella typhi, paratyphi A and paratyphi B. So this is basically for diagnosis of typhoid and paratyphoid fever. Testing for H agglutinin is done in Dreyer's tube. What are these? These are narrow tube with conical bottom, and when agglutination is there, large, loose, cotton woolly clumps are formed. So, how many sets of Dreyer tubes are taken? 3 sets. One for Salmonella typhi H antigen, one for paratyphi A, one for paratyphi B. So, ideally in Vidal test, 4 rows will be there. One for O antigen, which is common for all. Typhi, paratyphi A, paratyphi B. Why? Because of sharing of factor 12 among all these three species. Hence, common O antigen has been taken for all these three. Salmonella typhi, paratyphi A, paratyphi B. So, first row will be of O agglutinin. And in this, serum is taken and we will add O antigen in all the tubes. And tubes in first row will be 5 tubes will be there. 5 tubes. We can have dilution 20, 40, 80, 160 or 320 like, or we can have 30, 60, 120, 240 likewise. And last tube will be for control. This will be for control. So first row will be of O antigen, or in this tube we detect O agglutinin or agglutinin against O antigen. Second row will be for detection of antibody against flagellum antigen of Salmonella typhi. Clear? Third row will be for Salmonella paratyphi A H antigen, and fourth will be for Salmonella paratyphi B H. H antigen is added, and what we detect? Antibody against Salmonella paratyphi B H antigen. Clear? So O agglutinin will form in first row. The tubes are round bottom tubes are taken, which are known as Helix tubes. Compact, chalky, granular deposit will be there. Whereas in Dreyer's tube, which are 3 set, one for Salmonella typhi, one for paratyphi A, one for paratyphi B. In this, narrow tubes with conical bottom are taken up and large, loose, cotton woolly clumps will be formed in these tubes. So clear how agglutination reaction will be read in O first row, or where we detect O agglutinin, compact chalky granular deposit at the bottom of the tube will be there. That's why round bottom tubes we have taken, and we will read how we can see the bottom. We will keep mirror at the, and in that we will see the bottom of the tube. Mirror is taken up and in that bottom of the tube is seen. Whereas in Dreyer's tube, directly we can have in front of us and we can look for this large loose cotton woolly clumps in that. So 4 set of tubes will be there in Vidal test, and last set of tube will be for control in order to see auto agglutination of particular strain. Why the name Vidal test? Vidal was a professor of pathology and internal medicine at University of Paris, and he developed a procedure for diagnosing typhoid fever based on the fact that antibody in the blood of an infected individual causes the bacteria to bind. The antibody will bind with the bacteria and they will form the clump. That is known as Vidal's reaction. So Salmonella typhi O and H tubes, they are First two set will be of their, then paratyphy A, third set will be for paratyphy A, H-agglutinine only, fourth set will be for paratyphy B, H-agglutinine will only. Why? Now the question arises again, why common antigen O? Because of factor 12 sharing among these all three strains. So common O antigen has been taken. What is the significance of Vidal test? This will be negative in first week, as no antibody against the salmonella will appear in patient blood during first week. When the antibody will appear, they will appear after 7 to 10 days of infection. And titer will rise in second week, and rise in titer in paired sera will be diagnostic. If we are able to demonstrate rise in titer in paired sera, means if we are taking blood sample in first week, although no antibody will appear, but we can get baseline titer or community titer we can get. And if second sample is taken up in third week, and if third week rise in titer of antibody is there, and if we are able to demonstrate difference in titer between first week and third week, and that is rise in titer, then this is indicative of active infection with salmonella, or patient is suffering from enteric fever. You can see this is a rack, Vidal rack, in which tubes are there. 4 set of tubes are there. And practically you can see in your practical lab, we will show you. But you always remember 4 set of tubes will be there. First set for O antigen and other 3 for H antigen of Salmonella typhi, paratyphi A and paratyphi B. So serum agglutinin, they rises abruptly during the second or third week. And Vidal test detect antibody against O and H antigen of Salmonella typhi and paratyphi A and B. 2 serum sample, if they are obtained at an interval of 7 to 10 days, then we can demonstrate rise in titer of antibodies. Serial dilution on unknown sera are tested against the antigen. Amount of antigen is fixed one in all the tubes. Whereas in first tube, whatever serum we have taken, we will dilute it so that we can get final dilution up to 120 to 40 to 80 to 160 to 320, or we can have 30, 60, 120, 240. Clear? Any way we can make dilution like this. False positive and false negative limits the utility of this test. And single serum specimen, if we are taking, then it becomes difficult for us to do the interpretation of test, and cross reactions are there which limits the specificity of Vidal test. Single test, hence single test is not diagnostic one. Okay, so you have to take samples in first week and third week, or if you are taking single sample, then you have to take in second week of disease, because antibody will not appear during the first week. So what to do in first week? In first week, if you are suspecting a patient as having enteric fever, then take patient blood and send it to the microbiology lab for blood culture. So what is the significant titer? If antibodies against O antigen are more than 100, and for H antigen if they are more than 200, means suppose if we are doing 20, 40, 80, 160, 3 and 320 dilution. Likewise, if we are doing dilution, then up to fourth tube, 20, 40, 80, 160, means up to fourth tube they should be positive for O. And for H, 20, 40, 80, then 160, means up to fifth tube or till fourth tube it should be positive for H. More than fourth, if you are applying 5 tube, if you are taking 5 tube set, then more than 4 tube should be positive, or up to 4 tube positive should be there. And we have to remember H agglutinin appear first and they remain for prolonged period. Clear? Whereas O agglutinin, they appear afterwards and they disappear within 6 months. Clear? Whereas H-agglutinin, they remain in patient sample more than 6 months. So how we can know patient is having a recent infection or past infection? In past infection, O-agglutinin will not be there, or if they are there, they will not be up to significant titer of 100. Clear? And H-agglutinin, if they are there, may be significant, but O-agglutinin they are not there, then this indicate past infection, because H-agglutinin may persist in patient sample after 6 months even also. So false positive in unapparent infection and immunization or previously infected, then there may be. We should know how to do interpretation, whether patient is having active infection, or patient is having past infection, or patient is immunized one, or this is anamnestic reaction one, or this is unapparent infection. This we should. How we can do this? If we know significant titer, if we know the duration of sample, duration of disease, at what duration of disease sample has been taken up, and whether patient is immunized or not immunized, then only we can do interpretation of Widal test. Or in order to perform interpretation of Widal test, we have to keep all these things in our mind. Clear? So this is a chart showing rise of TO and TH antibody. This is suggestive of enteric fever due to Salmonella typhi. Means if both are rising, antibody against O as well as H antigen antibodies are rising, this is indicative of enteric fever due to S. typhi. If there is rise of TO and AH, means antibody against Salmonella paratyphi A Flesler antigen, this is indicative of enteric fever due to paratyphi A. In case of paratyphi B infection or enteric fever due to Salmonella paratyphi B, there will be rise of O as well as H antibody, but H antibody will be against Salmonella paratyphi B. Clear? If there is rise of only TO antibody, this indicates recent infection due to any serotype. This may be any serotype, because O is now common for all, whether typhi or paratyphi A and B. So we can't say here whether this is due to typhi or paratyphi infection. Rise of only TH antibody. This is found in case of convalescent stage, or anamnestic response may be there, or this indicate past infection. And whenever there is vaccination, sometime patient has taken vaccination, or military personnel or some person, they are routinely getting this infection, this vaccination against enteric fever, then in that case there will be titer of H as well as AH, BH antibody titer will be high, that is more than 200 in all the tubes in Widal test. Whereas for O, titer may be there or may not be there, because if we say all tubes are positive for O, H, AH, BH, what does this indicate? There cannot be an infection with all these three strains simultaneously. So this is probably a case of TAB vaccination. Clear? So Widal test is time consuming, and often times when diagnosis is reached, it may be too late to start an antibiotic regime. Why? Because during first week of enteric fever, we will not be able to diagnose the case with help of Widal test. So till we diagnose, that means second week or third week, till we are able to demonstrate rise in titer by Widal test, it becomes too late for patient to start antibiotic regime. But still physician depend on this Widal test for their day-to-day practice. And if we start antibiotic patient earlier, that is during first week, there may be a case that although patient may be suffering from enteric fever, but there may not be rise in titer of antibodies during second week. So although patient is having enteric fever, despite of that Vidal test may be negative. Clear? So when we find unapparent infection, when patient is getting antibiotic or patient is on antibiotic. So this should be interpreted, interpretation of Vidal test should be in light of baseline titer in a healthy local population also. Especially this is important when there is a high local prevalence of non-typhoid salmonella, and in a country like India where enteric fever is endemic one. So we assume that some titer of antibody is always there in all kind of population, or whether they are healthy or whether they are infected. This is called as baseline titer or community titer. So maybe up to 40, 1:40 or 1:30 for O antigen, and 1:30 or 60 or 20/40 up to this level, means below 60, 1:60 titer for O and H may be in normal healthy population. So if you are getting your test positive up to 1 tube or 2 tube only, this indicate community titer. This is not positive. So in order to demonstrate rise in titer, you have to take one more sample after 1 week or at an interval of 7 to 10 days. And if you are able to demonstrate rise in titer, then this is indicative of active infection by enteric fever. So what is community titer? Some amount of antibody is always there in the healthy population who are living in an endemic area of enteric fever. This is known as community titer. So we have to consider baseline titer or community titer. Clear? So in most of the peripheral labs or the outside laboratories, since the person who are engaged in Vidal testing, they don't know about the community titer or baseline titer. So if still 1 or 2 tube are showing the test positive, they give the test reaction as positive, and clinician, if again they are not aware of community titer or baseline titer, they start treatment on basis of that. So but you should always remember that for O antigen titer should be more than 100, and for H agglutinin titer should be more than 200, then only you can label the patient as having enteric fever. Otherwise you assume as baseline titer or community titer if that is not there. Clear? So we may get false positive and false negative reaction in Vidal test also whenever there is dysgammaglobulinemia. If patient is immunocompromised one, proper amount of antibodies they are not appearing, or patient is suffering from dysgammaglobulinemia. What are antibodies? They are gamma globulin. So if gamma globulins are not formed, then how we can have antibody in patient sample? So although patient is suffering from the disease, despite of that our test may be negative. Sometime in chronic active hepatitis also we can have this Vidal test as negative, and sometime in autoimmune disorder also, although patient is suffering from enteric fever, despite of that Vidal test may be negative. So and sometime whenever there are hidden organism in the bone or joint, or in case of relapse of typhoid fever, again we can have false negative reactions. Or sometimes the infective strains, they are poorly immunogenic, then again immune response against that will not be there, and we can have false negative Vidal test. Clear?